Hello, people of the world. Today we're just going to do a quick update on Travis Patron, the leader of the Canadian Nationalist Party, Inc. Uh, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Um, and um, and why he did the things he does. Um, Now, I'm going to preface this in saying that some people will say this is disingenuous. He's not following the court procedures and how they do things and giving them jurisdiction or, um, you know, I guess complying with the court order. Um, and also, the argument would be well, because he's a leader of a federally registered party, that he needs to take the conditions as is and quote unquote grow up when you're actually just really, you know, cucking to the you're placating to the system. Um so I'm just gonna go over this interaction between the judge and Travis. You guys can read this for yourself. It's a article from the Star that I'm just gonna copy. Hi Clayton, how are you? And paste. So you can, yeah, spineless people. Clayton makes a good point. Yeah, there is a lot of spineless people out there in Canadian politics. It seems to be the norm, and everyone thinks that it's going to get them elected. Yeah, there's a lot of pissed off. Jason Kenney is probably is he's not going to get elected. I don't know if the Conservatives are going to get elected, but you have the NDP. Man, oh god, I don't know if we're actually going to vote our way out of this. This mess is it's so deep. It's so corrupt. It's so tyrannical. It's so inconsistent. Like, I'm starting to think like the Christian tribulation has some wisdom to it, in that there needs to be a greater a reckoning. And I think Canada is a nation that we know it is done. Um, and there's a lot of reasons why to say that. Maybe there's some hope. There's always hope at that. Always light in the tunnel, but it's always darkest before dawn. So I think a proper way to preface it, it's going to get a lot darker before it gets better. And people think that, this or that election is going to get us out of. No, it's going to be a long, long, dark road ahead of us. Anyway, let's move on. So what we're going to do is we're going to screen share. My infinity and beyond. And then maybe if Clayton wants to come on, we can do that after. But I would just like to do it before I invite anybody on. Alrighty. Okay. So here we go. So this is the reason why that they are keeping Travis Patron incarcerated. Now, I like to preface this as well too, that he did get his uh, Court of Appeal to the Queen's Bench, Court of Queen's Bench. Right now, his claims are before a provincial court when it comes to mischief and break and enter. I will explain that as well in below. as to why he did those things, as why he has those accusations. As well, I would like to also preface that the judge does refer to reverse onus. So basically, what that is it's just basically an agreement that you won't be faced with any more future accusations, and that you have to tell the judge that you will follow the orders, um, and you will be let go, but you still have to face your accusations. So let's dive into it, shall we? This is just a little introduction to it. There's a lot of other charges as well too that also factor in as well, but you'll also see that on here as well. It's really well documented. The charges he's facing: so assault causing bodily harm. So with that, it was the two girls. It was in 2019. He offered two ladies a ride home, um, and then they refused, and then that's when the assault happened. Apparently, they had uh, identifiable injuries. Who knows? Women nowadays, they over exaggerate a lot of things, and they haven't really proven anything. Um, and if they have, he would have been in jail, right? So they're still iffy about it, and they're still trying to find evidence for it. So that's kind of a personal one. Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes when you're out and about, and there's a couple times I could think of that I could have got in trouble too, um, with women. So it happens, and especially if you're at a bar or something like that, you meet them, they might accuse you of rape and all that stuff. So yeah, yeah, that's the court always believes the woman, yada yada yada. Um, and then the famous one, hatred, incitement of hatred against it. This is a joke. Like a CNP member flew a nationalist flag at anti-restriction rally on. It was a freedom rally on May 9th, and there was articles saying, you know, if there's any criminal complaints about committing hate speech, if the flag committed hate speech, they will investigate. I think it's just such a joke, dude, of what is hate speech nowadays. It's off the rails insanity. Um, but anyway, this is for also uh, his video he made about beware the parasitic tribe. Maybe I can make a transcript below. I also do have it on video. I also do have it. I believe I do have it on here on my channel here too. You can also check out. Um, yeah, I just basically say the you know those amongst us. Um, you know, you can walk right by them. You can walk right past them without knowing. These people, they hate your way of life, and if they had their way, basically they would destroy the way your life, and what's happening right now. They're destroying the life the way you know it right now. Unless you identify as a parasite, you must have to ask yourself, why are you offended by that, right? So, I mean, yeah. So that's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, let's get into it. Alrighty. So this is just the date here, and let's get into the quotes. So this is basically what I said. You have to prove that you won't, commit break and enter mischief, and these are part of your court conditions, right? Or you won't go to a certain place. Usually, what happens with like these court conditions, um, if you and this can happen to anybody really. Like if you get a COVID ticket, right, and if you don't show up to court, um, they can arrest you, and then when they arrest you, they'll put court conditions. So they'll say you can't talk to such and such person. You can't, talk to this person. and you must agree to this, right? And if you don't agree to this, then they might, uh, incarcerate you. Or sometimes what will happen is you won't sign it, but they'll still give you a sheet of your core conditions. Um, and so, you don't necessarily have to sign on to it, but somehow the court, you don't have to give them jurisdiction, but it's almost like suggestions, right? You shouldn't be with this person, you should be with that person, and, but if you keep doing it over and over again, right? So because he's been having court conditions. So when he got his hate speech, he was this first time. Oh no, he was incarcerated for the aggravated assault. So obviously he got some court conditions. He can't drink alcohol, whatever, blah blah blah, right? So he got court conditions, and he got hate speech allegations. So he's incarcerated for that. So then he got some court conditions. He can't post, or that's why Travis Patron wasn't able to post anything, or that's why the Canadian Nationalist Party wasn't able to post anything after that CBC video, because that was one of the core conditions, is that you couldn't post anything online, um, which is really draconian, really. Um, it's just part of like the UN agenda uh, of pacifying people who dare to stand up against this big monolithic beast. Anyway, that's just another tangent. But anyway, so that's basically another condition there. You can post anything, and then uh, with the breaking, enter, and mischief. So he was also charged with breaking court conditions, resisting arrest, all that kind of add-on stuff. So now, since he broke his conditions over and over again, or he has a lot of accusations, now the thing is called reverse onus. So usually, in most circumstances, they say here, the onus is on the Crown to show the accused must remain in custody and not be released. So for those times, the Crown couldn't justify him being in custody because he wasn't guilty. It was just an accusation. So he was released, and then they have court orders, right? However, when the accused is unreleased, violates his conditions, or is charged with another indictable offense, as Patron has been, the onus is on the accused to show why they should be released. Um, so that's kind of a thing there. So you don't have to be found guilty. You can just basically charge means an accused from Her Majesty, or accusation from the state, right? You're innocent before proven guilty, right? So they do this for a variety of things, but I just felt like it was kind of inevitable. But let's get into the meat and bones here of this. So the accused is not prepared to proceed unless so that's Patron for referring to himself, unless they can be assured that the onus here lies with the Crown. And this is the judge. I can't make that assurance. In fact, I can tell you right now, I don't usually make a ruling before the bail hearing. But just for your benefit, because it's an issue you keep raising, I cannot and will not give you an assurance that the onus is on the Crown. In fact, I will tell you right now that the onus is on you. Can there also be a guarantee that the decision on the bail would be decided on the most recent accusations only? So this is Patron talking about his accusations. So he's trying to limit his accusations as to what. So the reverse onus wouldn't be on him; it would still be on the Crown. And also, there's a thing. So if you ever get incarcerated or anything like that, there's a thing that's called the habeas corpus, and basically what that is ask them, why am I being detained? Why am I being detained? They still, if they still haven't, given you a justification, why you're being detained, and if you're still being detained, still keep peppering, asking them, can I get rid of habeas corpus? Can I get rid of habeas corpus? And basically, that is, it's a written document that needs to be produced by the Crown and submitted to the judge, have before the uh, accusation, the body before the court, before the judge, and the judge has to rule whether the habeas corpus is justified in keeping him incarcerated uh, for a long period of time, or indefinite period of time, they say here, until the charges have been dealt with, or if they feel that the charge there's not really much likelihood of a prosecution, they'll let him go. That's the most time that'll happen. Since this is kind of there's a different dimension to this. It's a kind of a unique legal situation, and I'll get into it. There's a lot to it, right? But that's basically the gist of it, right? Let's not try to confuse things too much. I'll just stick it there. So yeah, so basically, there's a lot of accusations against you. Usually, the onus is on you to prove you won't break your conditions, right? That's basically it. And if you say yes, then you have a bail hearing. If you say no, we'll get into this now. So let's keep going. Okay. So basically, he says, okay, so can there just be guaranteed that the decision on bail would be decided on most recent accusations only, and not the ones coming about, say, when he was charged with willful incitement of hatred against an identifiable group, or 2019, for example, when Patron was charged. So his previous charges, that one's quite recent. This was about just a couple months ago when this court date was in April. So that's still kind of recent. This one was in 2019. Okay, so now we go back to the judge. Once again, I'm not prepared to, and I'm not going to do that, said Judge Robachuk, I think it's the name. In fact, I will tell you the exact opposite, that under Canadian law, when you are released on charges, and then you're alleged to have committed further crimes, everything taken into consideration, and all your outstanding charges can and will be considered. Under Section 515 of the Criminal Code, the considerations of the judge takes into consideration in considering whether someone should be released or are laid out. These are two subsections in particular, 515 subsection 6, which says in a situation that the onus is on you, where you're charged with breaching the conditions of your release, the onus says you need to demonstrate that your detention is not justified, and that section 515 subsection 10 sets out the factors that a judge will consider when determining whether your detention is justified. So Patron is representing himself, and he's refused a lawyer to help him. After Patron repeatedly argued about the law and said that he didn't want to proceed under the law that governs the hearing, Crown Prosecutor Chris White suggested that if Patron doesn't want a hearing, he could remain in custody indefinitely. I think we're looking at this a little bit backwards. This is his application for release, not our application that he be detained. He doesn't want to have a bail hearing. He doesn't have to. It's not the Crown seeking to keep him in jail. It's the Crown seeking to have him met the onus placed upon him for his release. So basically, you have to prove This is kind of tyrannical. You have to prove that you won't face another accusation again. Um, um, yeah, so that's basically it. And as of right now, it's his application for release. If he wants to set the terms, he can set them all he wants, but the court doesn't have to agree to them. It doesn't have to hear an application for release. If he doesn't feel that he needs to comport himself in a way that is consistent with the way we do things in provincial court, then the Crown takes the position he is essentially forfeiting his right to apply for release. So basically, you submitted us or you go to jail. Uh, so he didn't submit to their ruling. Because that's basically the only option that they gave him. And it was like a shitty option. And I'll get into that too. There comes a point where he either submits to the jurisdiction of this court or he doesn't. If he does, let's proceed. If he doesn't, let's not. We're going around and around here with no end in sight. Patron repeatedly says he doesn't understand the proceedings. Court. All right. Um, we're just sorry. I was just thinking about a court case I had. It was funny. I kept saying that. Anyway. Um, we're just going to be remanded for a further period of time, Mr. Patron. Do you understand that? That's the judge. I don't understand that because we reserve our right to be free from arbitrary detainment. Their crown is saying it's not arbitrary. They're saying there's a good reason why you're being held, and your detention is prescribed by criminal code, and it's allowed, it's authorized, unless you are prepared to proceed with an application for release under the terms of our criminal code. A bail hearing will be held, and you will just continue to be remanded indefinitely until these charges are dealt with. By the end of the court session, the judge adjourned the matter, leave Patron in custody. I have adjourned this matter until you realize that what the law does say, says the judge. So I'd encourage you, Mr. Patron, your liberty is at stake here. He was deemed mentally well, by the way. So he's mentally fit to defend himself. I don't even know. Yeah, that's when he offered his writ of habeas corpus. But anyway, we don't want to keep adjourning your matter and holding you in custody if you have the right to apply for a bail hearing and wish to apply for one. But you can't dictate to us how your bail hearing is going to occur. That's already been set by the law that we have to follow. And so you can't try to change the law and say, I'm only going to proceed the bail with the bail hearing if the law is different. That just won't happen. And you'll stay in custody like this for months until you come to that realization and you actually have a bail hearing. Okay, Patron responded by arguing against the rules set out in the Criminal Code of Canada. If our liberty is in jeopardy, the onus lies on you to justify that. The onus does not lie on us. You just said that our liberty is put in jeopardy. Well, then the onus is on you to justify that, not us. Oh, smack. Oh, what a. Oh, yes. Exactly it. That, yeah, my friend, that's a lawyer right there. And you guys screenshot this, you write this down, you take notes, know for next time you're in such a situation as this, that's a good thing to know. Similar, I don't know if you have multiple accusations, maybe you do, I don't know, but Um, that's really good to keep in mind. If you're Canadian, you have multiple accusations against you. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, he just said his liberties, and that, I mean, yeah, I mean, he pretty much gets the judge right there, and as he says, his liberty is at jeopardy, and then yeah, it is true. I mean, uh, I think the judge kind of uh, he wasn't expecting this, and yeah, I think so. With the habeas corpus, it has to be justified upon the crown, right? And that's basically what Travis is referring to. Um, Basically, these accusations have to have meat to it, right? The reverse onus is kind of, I think it's just one of those things. It's just kind of controlled. Basically a kind of a control. Make a lot of they make money for people to have them in there, and to keep the jail industrial complex going. Um, and so it's just it's kind of a scam, and you just basically kind of just put that out there. And like a lot of people, I guess politicians, they would just take, oh, we'll take the bail hearing and we'll follow the court order, and they can get to a point where I know there's a one Canadian political activist by the name of Kevin J. Johnston. He keeps pleading guilty and he keeps agreeing to these bail conditions, and it's to the point now where he can't even go out and go door to door, and talk to people, and that's basically it. It's just like it's a trap, right? Um, it's meant to entrap you, and it's kind of like they can just throw these like baseless accusations to you, and you know, and say, "Oh, you have all these accusations against you, so now the onus is on you." No, but this is a lower court. The lower court doesn't deal with these things, and I think they did this for a reason. I, I think. Well, first of all, um, it wasn't the provincial court. I mean, the hate speech thing that would be from a higher court, right? Court of Queen's Bench, I believe so. And the higher court in Canada deals with this, right? And when you're dealing with the accusations, you can't necessarily you can't. I don't know if you can appeal it. I'll have to look that up. I'm pretty sure you can. Um, yeah, you can appeal decisions for sure, even if you are accused. And he did do this actually. And then the higher court said no, they're following the law. So kind of tyrannical, kind of like yeah, the court system's not there for you. But anyway, we'll keep going. Throughout his morning and afternoon appearances, Patron referred to himself as we and referred to himself in a third person as the accused, prompting the Crown prosecutor to ask who Patron was referring to when he said we, to which he replied, the accused. Oh, I did that. I did something like that too. Well, yeah, you are accused. Yeah. We, the accused. He was acting upon the Canadian Nationalist Party, so he's representing a corporation when he was doing these activities. So, yeah, he's a chief agent of it. I don't want to needlessly adjourn your matter and have you held in custody indefinitely until you come to the realization how this hearing will occur. But you leave me no choice today. I just want to explain that to you. Nobody here is happy that you're continuing to be detained without a bail hearing, which is your right. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing is, yeah, it's your right to let us diminish your rights. Yeah, it's just double speak right there. Yeah. You can make any accusation if you have tons of accusations and you've been charged with it, even if they're frivolous. That's the thing is they go off these courts, they go off of like frivolous accusations, and they still pursue them, even if there's like less than 10% chance of being. Um, it's just a really scary precedent, really to think about. Is how tyrannical our system is, and how these court systems are not really for us. They're for the perpetuation of the court system, and and basically, you can have all these accusations against you, and you can still be faced with this situation where they're still going to incarcerate you, and you haven't really done anything. You've only been accused, right? You haven't been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. What? That's just that's antithetical to our system. Yeah, that's laws are unconstitutional, I'd say. But anyway, Crown prosecutor Chris White said to the Crown was prepared to proceed if Patron indicated he would proceed according to law. Yeah, right. I don't know what else there is to say, Your Honor, just so the record reflects. The Crown is prepared to proceed. And the reason we're not proceeding is because Mr. Patron doesn't want to in the way that we need to according to law. I just want to make sure the record reflects that. And then the judge asked Patron if he understood why the meeting is being adjourned, matter is being adjourned. So, Mr. Patron, do you understand why this matter is being adjourned? Because the court is prepared to proceed here, just not on the terms and conditions that you're trying to lay down. So, okay, good. Then we're getting into another dimension here of this situation. I understand that this land, Rich, recognizes the supremacy of God. So that's true. In the Constitution, it says recognize the supremacy of God, which is correct. And also, too, the Magna Carta was which formed the Constitution and many of other constitutions and amendments to those constitutions, as well as the Statute of Westminster, also is part of how the Constitution was formed, along with the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta is like you can't have the Magna Carta without you can't have the Constitution without the Magna Carta. Uh, Vice versa. Oh no, yeah, pretty much. So Patron said, so if this court isn't going to proceed fairly with due process, then we'll simply let God decide. So basically, he's not giving the court jurisdiction. He's recognizing the supremacy of God in the Canadian Constitution, which overrides any court proceedings, unless you're a judge being remanded in a specific jurisdiction of Canada, part of federalism. These constitutional laws supersede when it's dealing with persons, private persons, or a person representing a company. You have the Constitution overriding or I guess you could say the Magna Carta overriding the court proceeding. So yeah. So this is basically it. And Mr. Patron is basically saying that he hasn't done anything wrong, in that he was acting accordance to God, which is the Magna Carta, which was it was trial by faith. So basically, he made he tried to he invoked the Magna Carta, and basically with that you have these 63 clauses that you abide by, and that you basically you're practicing lawful dissent. They call it the Freeman Oath, and but you're practicing lawful dissent, and that you swear an oath to the 25 barons. This is what happens in Canada. And basically, um, this is in accordance with Clause 61. And one of the reasons why he's practicing this is kind of he was denied access to the city of Saskatoon during the 43rd federal election for the party being denominational in nature. So that was like a religious nature. Um, and people say, "Oh, let's just make it secular and we'll do it all fun." So stupid, just so stupid. Like, yeah, people now are just in the party is it's just so bad shit, crazy and stupid and really retarded. I honestly like, yeah, those are just trolls at this point. Doing it under the Canadian Nationalist banner. No, we're pro LGBT now. We're just secular. No, man, just start your own party. This is the thing with these people now in the current party. Just they're trying to make it like more PC. I'm like, dude, it's done. Let's start your own party if you feel that way. You know what I mean? Just start it. Like, you're just making things harder for us. Just leave. You already left. You know who you are, who I'm talking about. Just leave. Just leave the party. You already were told to leave. You were already discharged. And then you came back because you're just a power hungry little idiot who hasn't accomplished anything in their life. You're a parasite. That's what you are. You're a parasite. And you basically you shit you misrepresent the CMP platform. Yeah, I really have no respect for you. You're very disingenuous in how you argue. You know who you are. You know who I'm talking about. If not, I mean, that's fine. But yeah, these people that are in the party now, just don't even look at them. Don't even bother. But that's beside the point. Now I'll go off on a relevant tangent. But anyway, so yeah, so it was denominational in nature. So they recognized it's a Christian party, and on those basis, they recognized religious principles. And the city of Saskatoon denied them access because it was denominational in nature. And CMP's argument was, we're a sect of the church, and how dare you? And one of the clauses in Magna Carta is like freedom from church's elections. So the crown agents, which are sworn upon oath to protect the Constitution, along with the Magna Carta, um, which is it's a monarchical constitution, constitutional monarchy. There we go. Um, is basically all the crown agents are bound by this, right? And they broke that, and so you got to redress to Her Majesty. Her Majesty doesn't do anything. Well, you're practicing lawful dissent, right? And with that comes in these 63 clauses in effect. In accordance with Clause 61, which talks about seizures of public property. And basically, he was a defender of the faith because the courts, the municipal government, denied him his fundamental democratic rights under the Constitution, and also discriminated on him on a religious basis as well too, which also invoked the Magna Carta. So basically, he is under trial under faith, and he acts according to God, and God will only judge him as the uh, the so-called keepers of the faith, because our justice system is based upon faith, is based upon God, is based upon the Bible. That's why you have 3 degrees of murder. That comes from the Bible. It's supposed to be keepers of the faith, and they have failed to be keepers of the faith, and in respecting the party's democratic rights and their religious freedom. So, if fundament, so there's ways in that you can, outside of the court system, that you can. What the Magna Carta does is it gives you justice, you know, and you can do your own court tribunals. First Nations use this all the time. They have their own court tribunals because they feel unjust from the system. So you feel unjust to the system, you can also form your own court tribunals as well too, with 13 signatures from citizens of the realm. And then and then you have your court tribunal. Um, So yeah, so that's basically he was acting lawful dissent. He was defending Western civilization from tyranny, and which we're experiencing right now. And because he's doing this, I feel like this was inevitable. This would happen. I know other people say, well, he wouldn't be incarcerated with other charges. I'm like, nah, man, he would keep going. He would keep going. Yeah, this was inevitable, I think. I know, actually. Um, and I commend them for this. And there's a lot to learn, too. A lot for me to learn, a lot for you to learn. I love sharing this with you guys. Um, and that's pretty much the end of it. And then he just keeps going on. There, Mr. Patron, there is there anybody you'd like to speak with who might be able to help you? Only God can judge me. There you go. Only God can judge me. There are people in a correctional facility you could talk with. For example, there's lawyers, but there's also psychologists who come out there, and others who talk to you. And I can do that to anybody else. I will say I'm pretty disappointed that I've been arbitrarily arrested. I've been saying since day one, I didn't break in. I didn't force my way in. I was acting in defender of the faith in using that property. So I was just, you know, trial by faith is basically what he's going after here. Would you like to speak to anybody at the facility while you're waiting? The judge asked. In particular, just because of a disconnect, we seem to be talking on different wavelengths with you. Would you like to speak with a psychologist or anybody? So basically, they're trying to get like uh, this is how they kind of this is how they kind of snake. Like you have to deal with a lot of snakes in these system, and so what they're trying to do is they're trying to get like an insanity plea here, and with that, you can get them a lawyer that might tank the case, and the prosecution will be easier because these people they work by commission, so they work by per prosecution. And so, whatever the easiest way possible without actually doing the legwork of proving guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, they will do it. Um, and that's how that's the nature of the system. So basically, they're trying to get like an insanity plea here. So he wouldn't be able to defend himself, and uh, yeah, the reverse onus is absolutely bunk, dude. I don't know. There's got to be stipulations of that. Yeah, it's so arbitrary. It's ridiculous. That's our court system. That's why it's all backed up. It's a joke. There's really good resources. Blah blah blah. So yeah. So he was deemed sane to defend himself, and yeah. Okay, so court appearance. So we got court appearances coming up here. So September 9th, he had an appearance. Whoops, I'll hide this. He had an appearance in Carlisle on several minor matters, including placing a frivolous 911 call and violating. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, they have all these kind of. Yeah, you'll see. Like they just add on these things. I don't know what the frivolous 911 call was. No idea. I don't know what that would be. Um, yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah. Well, I think what it is, minor. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. A lot of people in the community they like to call. That's what it is. Sorry, they like to call they like to call the RCMP, and it gets to a point where like even when he was doing petition to stop like drag queen story time at the library, a lot of people were calling the RCMP in Carlisle, and they would and yeah, yeah, that's what it is basically. And then like if he's walking around, they would falsely accuse him of like lighting the grass on fire or something stupid like that, stuff like that, And then violating the public health. So that's basically not wearing a mask in a public place. Got a $2,800 ticket for that. Ridiculous. Yeah. So he had a I had that about a week ago. And then October 7th, he will appear in provincial court on the trial on several charges, including violating a probation order, committing mischief, interfering with lawful use of the property, resisting arrest, failing to apply with conditions of release, and being at large on a undertaking, all in relation to an incident in Regina. Okay, so this is basically his mischief. He was arrested on March 18th for mischief. So he basically wrote a civil asset forfeiture um, to the Red vs. Legion, and this is the interfering with lawful use. So they really trumped up the charges here. Um, and then February 28th, he has court. He will be in Court of Queen's Bench. The start of a jury trial. Ooh, on charges of assault causing bodily harm. Oh boy. Oh, a jury trial. Oh, great. Oh, that's fantastic. A jury trial. Yeah, that'll be fair. Oh, yeah, that sucks. A jury trial. That's crazy. Jury trial for that. You know what? It'd be surprised. I think the public really does mistrust the media, and that'd be interesting to see how. Uh, that'd be interesting to see. It's from Regina, not in Saskatoon, so it's probably near as. Be interested to see how they pick the jury for that. Yeah, that'd be very interesting. Very interesting. You know, it'd be interesting to see what the public sentiment is. Honestly, in this, how much media actually has sway in people's judgment. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I'll keep tabs on that for sure. Um, mischief, a lot going on, you know. So mischief charge. So yeah, oh yeah, March 19th. Sorry, I said March 18th. I just mentioned that. Da, 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 da. Claim ownership of building. So that's in clause 61. I would like to see if they would honor that. Yeah, I'm very interested. It's kind of weird, but usually how they go is just like, well, if they can't get a insanity plea, or they can't get like a quick prosecution, usually they'll stretch it out, and and then like usually with usually how our justice system works is because you have that reverse onus, um, and if they can't get like even if they're frivolous accusations, which most of them are, I think almost all of them. I don't know about the assault one. I'm interested with that, but the other ones are frivolous. Um, be very interesting to see uh, how long this drags out. Because he said months, right? Yeah, be very interesting. I'm kind of envious of Travis's position. I'm not gonna lie a little bit, you know, with what's going on right now. I'm like, you know what? He's okay. He's okay. You know, and I'm starting to think, man, the tribulation is probably, there's something to that. Uh, Christian tribulation. Something to think about. Because yeah, we get all wrapped up in this stuff, and which is good. I mean, as long as it's for God, right? Get up to the works, and I think it's still important that in these times that we don't give up, even though you think it might be a waste of time to maybe write to Jason Kenney or to your representative. Just do it. Just do it. Just have that faith that at least you'll slow down the tribulation, and that you will be able to save people, because we'll need a lot of people, because once all this stuff really hits the fan, there's going to be lots of deaths. There's going to be lots of famine, and that you in world history is unfathomable. And so be prepared for that, because societies are brittle. Anyway, on behalf of the federally sanctioned political constituency, so this is why he was referring to we, I hereby serving notice regarding property located 40 Roadway, Redverse, Saskatchewan, parcel number. Even got the parcel number, property located in this address, henceforth now known the Ministry of National Faithism, and shall conduct itself under this name. Accordingly, Patron wrote to the town. So he wrote the town, and he also wrote the Legion staff of the civil asset forfeiture. So still in line there. And then he was arrested a second time on March 28th for allegedly breaking in to the Redverse Legion, which started this whole fiasco. He broke in on the night of March 27th. Yada, yada, yada. Assault charges. He went through that. Happened November 2nd, 2019. So, any other dates? Hate crime charge in February. Website and videos he shared. So Patron was charged with willful promotion of hatred towards an identifiable group. Posts on his website and videos that he created and shared. RCMP launched an investigation into the statements and videos posted by Patron involved in Saskatchewan RCMP's major crime unit. RCMP National Security Section in British Columbia, RCMP Hate Crime Unit. National Security, what a joke. Incident CBC. So the last video that he posted on the website was he was at CBC demanding an issue for being excluded from the most 43rd federal election. And they told him that he needed to leave. He tried calling the CBC multiple times for an interview for being excluded from the city of Saskatoon multiple times, and just before the 43rd federal election. And they denied an interview. Said nobody's here. And also that anyway, that's the whole thing there. He was forcibly removed and then charged under the Public Health Act, refusal to wear a mask. Sean then ran around a lobby and eventually out the front door, which was the goal, according to Regina Police. So he continued to make loud proclamations. Officers confirmed his identity and warned not to return and watched by the police until then. Being kicked out of a building, being a federal party leader, in a public broadcasting about your fundamental democratic rights. Get the police called on you. That's the system we live in. And then you get charged with hate speech right after that. Mischief. So yeah. So in summary, we got court dates. October 7th and February 28th. So mark that down on your calendar. That should be a doozy. Then also it's to March 28th to March 4th. Very interesting. Well, that'll be very interesting. I'm very interested to see that one. See how the jury reacts, see what the public sentiment is. I'm very interested in that. Probably a jury trial for the hate speech too. That'll probably be a gong show. Yeah, a lot going on. Very interested in seeing what is going to happen. And yeah. Anyway, stop sharing the screen now. Alrighty. Well, I hope that was educational. I hope you guys are all updated. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Alrighty.